former President Donald Trump is defending Saudi Arabia. Now, during an interview with ESPN, Trump was asked about criticism from the 9/11 families that his Live Golf tournament was backed by the Saudi government. Here is his response.
Well, nobody's gotten to the bottom of 9/11, unfortunately, and they should have, as to the maniacs that did that horrible thing to our city, to our country, to the world. So nobody's really been there, but I can tell you that there are a lot of really great people that are out here today, and we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to celebrate, and money's going to charity. A lot of money's going to charity.
Yeah, I'm going to have to call bullshit on that. But on the charity portion, but also on pretty much everything else. Nobody's really gotten to the bottom of 9/11. Actually, yeah, we have. Al-Qaeda was behind 9/11. Now, 15 out of the 19 hijackers, and this is where it relates to Saudi Arabia, were Saudi citizens. There have also been reports of alleged connections between the hijackers and the Saudi government, including the funding from the government to Al-Qaeda. The FBI has even established points of contact between Saudi officials and the 9/11 attackers. Now, of course, our government is real buddy-buddy with the Saudis right now, and has been for quite some time. And of course, there is a reason for that. And so the government of Saudi Arabia says, oh, no, we didn't have anything to do with 9/11. And the United States says what he said, what they said. Now, I wonder why they would both agree on that. Oh, right. Cheap oil. I mean, when it comes to the petrodollar, that's the only thing that really matters to them. They sell us cheap oil. So now this is why I'm furious at Joe Biden, who said he was going to make a pariah out of Saudi Arabia for their role in murdering and dismembering a Washington Post journalist on orders from Mohammed bin Salman, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. He went there and he gave Mohammed Bonesaw bin Salman a fist bump. No, totally fine. And they planned the whole thing too. And so we're just going to sit here under both Democrats and Republicans that the Saudi government isn't a fundamentalist terror state. Absolutely is. But the reason they do it is, of course, because, they sell us oil and cheap oil. We like cheap oil. Everybody gets so mad when gas prices go up. Now, look, the left wing has been very critical, and I'm talking about progressives here, of the government of Saudi Arabia, which is, again, a right-wing fundamentalist Islamic government. Now, the right wing, of course, they just attack Muslims. They just think all Muslims are the same. That's ridiculous. But what's weird about Trump here is that he has flip-flopped on criticism and praise of Saudi Arabia. So let me give you some examples, right? So now back in 2008, during an interview on Howard Stern's show, he basically implicated that, or implied, that bin Laden was still walking around in Saudi Arabia. In fact, he said, he's walking in the woods of probably Saudi Arabia. I happen to think he's in Saudi Arabia. And then added that if he were president after 9/11, he would have gone into Saudi Arabia and gotten the families of the terrorists. So wait, you would have invaded Saudi Arabia? That's weird. I mean, again, I may not be a fan of Saudi Arabia, but it's not like I would want to actually start a war with Saudi Arabia. Ridiculous. But no, I'd go in and I'd take out the families. And then what happened? Well, later on, of course, he's like, we need to defend Saudi Arabia against Iran because, we need to defend them, but they also need to pay us. Now, when it came to George W. Bush and Obama, well, here's what Trump said about them. About Bush, he said, we have a president that goes to Saudi Arabia and wraps his arms around his people and say, we love you. We love you. We love you. A lot of love there. A lot of love, apparently. And again, he's not necessarily wrong about Bush, but he's also not necessarily wrong about Obama. In fact, he said when it was Obama, Do we still want a president who bows to the Saudis and lets OPEC rip us off? All fine and dandy, right? But then, what happened? Well, when Trump becomes president, guess what he does? He immediately goes and kisses Saudi ass. And you know why? Because look, it's because they give him money. It's about the money, Lebowski. That's all it is. Look, the Live Golf Series that is happening at Bedminster. This is after the PGA Tour had pulled out. They didn't want anything to do with Trump or Bedminster. So here comes his friends, the Saudis, doing the Live Golf Series. And by the way, they're offering some very, very big money for people to come in, for golfers to come in as prize money, way more than the PGA Tour. And so they do so because they got the money. They're backed by the Saudis' public investment fund that was overseen personally by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. So that money, Trump's pocket. Because of course. But not only that, they also, the Saudis, literally gave Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, a $2 billion loan. And it's important to note that a panel that screened these investments had objected to this and, well, were overruled. Now, they considered loaning money to Kushner to be a very poor investment. And I would say, true. Mohammed bin Salman says, no, we're going to give Kushner the money anyway. Gee, I wonder if that has anything to do with this. Or if it has anything to do with, the Trump government actually granting at least 11 different favors to the Saudi government. And the fact, of course, that we had sold them weapons to use in their genocide against Yemen. And, by the way, to get back to criticizing the Biden administration is still selling weapons to the Saudis that they can use in Yemen. There is still a genocide going on. There's still a famine going on. There's still people dying in Yemen. And we're still selling them the weapons. Again, it comes down to the cheap oil and it comes down to the money. Now, in addition to basically ignoring the very real outrage felt by the families of the victims of 9/11, who had been suing the Saudi government and being blocked by the United States government to find out just how much Saudi involvement there was in that attack, Trump also ignored the outrage of the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, saying that the fear around it seems to have died down. I didn't really care about, this Washington Post journalist. Bezos-owned Washington Post. Very, very sad. Failing Washington Post with all their lies, fake news. They're, journalists being murdered and dismembered. He doesn't care at all about it. Because it doesn't affect him because he likes the money. It's all about the money. It really goes to show you how easily, not just Trump, but all of our politicians can be bought by a foreign country, and how little, at least in Trump's case, they care about the victims of terrorism.